So hello folks, we're going to go back to Canadian politics today and look at Bill 67, which is Racial Equity in the Education System Act 2022. And this is of course in the province of Ontario. So it's not going to take too long to dive through this. You could skip through a lot of it to get the gist of it. And it should be a bit of an easier bill to examine. So right off the bat, it tells you what anti-racism, their definition of it is, and what the definition of racism is. So anti-racism means the policy of opposing racism, including anti-Indigenous racism, anti-Black racism, anti-Asian racism, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia. Racism means the use of socially constructed ideas of race to justify or support, whether consciously or subconsciously, the notion that one race is superior to another. I mean, I hate to be that elephant in the room, but right away in this, it doesn't mention anything about, if you're white, if the color of your skin's white, or you're European. So I guess it's okay to be racist towards white people in a way here. Like, why isn't that? Why is every other race in this policy or in that definition and not white people? So to me, that gives other races, the chance to bash white people for sure. And, any type of racism isn't good regardless. Like, it shouldn't happen to anybody, but every race, including white people, should be included in that definition. And saying the use of socially constructed ideas, there isn't really any such thing as socially constructed ideas of race. Like, if your skin's black, you're black. If your skin's tan, you're native or you're Spanish or whatever. And if your skin's white, you're white. Like, I don't think that's any socially constructed idea. There's actual, physical, biological appearances that we have as well. But moving on, okay, this is interesting. Racist disturbances. Every person who disrupts or attempts to disrupt the proceedings of a school or class through the use of racist language or by engaging in racist activities is guilty of an offense and on conviction is liable to a fine of not more than $200. So basically, you're going to get fined $200 if you say something, at the end of the day. Which nobody, as I said, should be at the end of the day, but to fine people for it, I really don't know about that. We could skim through a lot more of this, like every board shall establish a racial equity plan for the schools of the board and required students to implement the plan. Engaging in behaviors or using language that is racist is, another definition of it. I mean, there's just a lot of gibberish in there. I felt like they could have really said what they wanted to say in this bill quite quickly. And it just talks about all this stuff with, college and university and stuff like that and blah, blah, blah. And governing topics that shall be addressed or elements that shall be included in anti-racism policies, governing the provision of training to faculty, staff, students, and other persons about anti-racism policies, respecting the publication of anti-racism policies and the promotion of awareness of the policies, blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of goes on here. But in short, basically what they're implementing here is a critical race theory type teaching, which is very communist in nature at the end of the day. And it definitely breeds from communism. And, this adds on to a lot of what's been going on in the universities where basically they criticize everything ad nauseum and everything that was especially established by Europeans, which was our country at the end of the day. I mean, we have common law, we have the French law, we have the French and the British, that created this country. And, that's a goal of communist ideology in its teachings is to criticize everything ad nauseum until, people have so much self-hate towards their own country or their ancestors as well. And, what happened 100 years ago or 150 years ago, you can't really compare it to today. Like, life was so much different. Like, people had to struggle so much more for resources and people fought over resources a lot more, which was a big reason sometimes why they did what they did. And, they did it for economic reasons, and you could get into a whole discussion about that. But yeah, that's really what this bill is overall. It's just to expand the critical race theory teaching. Have a good day.